Hello, welcome to this new video for me. Today we will play a best of 3 in VGC against the best Irish player that ever existed. It's Mattie Morgan, and in the current season he has been on a streak because he played 5 tournaments and he cut 4 of them, and his worst finish is 23rd. Like 23rd out of 500, 600 participants as the worst finish is insane to me. So I'm really looking forward to play him, and I'm also really looking forward to the team I'm using today because it's been on my radar since Worlds and I wanted to test it out, but I didn't have the time to do so. But now I will have the opportunity to do so, and I really hope we can have a good set against Mattie because he's been my imposter, I've been his imposter because people told him that he was me and I was told that I was him. Pretty wild to me, but other than that, it's really cool because we also talk in regionals a lot. So I'm really looking forward to play against a friend, and this is gonna be a very good one, I think. First and foremost, we have to talk about the team, though. If you don't want to hear the team breakdown, I obviously have timestamps in the description below, so you can just skip to the matches immediately. So today we are using the Hirofumi Kimura team from Worlds. And why was I really looking forward to test it? I'm a big fan of Ogre upon Cornerstone paired with Calyrex Ice because Ogre upon Cornerstone hits all the things that Calyrex Ice doesn't really want to see. Like water types get obliterated by Power Whip, fire types you still have high horsepower, but you most of the time want to click Glacial Lance, but for fire types you have a rock type Ivy Cudgel, so that's a really nice combination. We also have a Chi-Yu Fluttermane combination, which was a lot of fun on the Zamazenta team Snow was using, and Urshifu Rapid Strike as well as Raging Bolt just as good mons. So overall a team that just features the best Pokemon in the meta, but what I really like is that Never Melt Ice Calyrex Ice. Maybe I didn't pick the correct opponent to play this Calyrex Ice set because I know that Mattie likes Incineroar, or he sometimes plays it, but other than that, I think I just wanted to play it, so let's see how it goes. And obviously Hirofumi made top cut with that team, and he played some Incineroar as well, so it's not doomed. But what does make Never Melt Ice so good? The downside, obviously, you can get intimidated, but you have Urshifu Rapid Strike, Ogre upon Cornerstone, Raging Bolt with Life Orb, like a lot of things that just hit Incineroar very well, so that synergizes as well. And Never Melt Ice, you can run a little less attack, but more bulk, to survive certain stuff better, and you still get your one-hit KOs. With Never Melt Ice, you can one-hit KO Amoonguss. You can also just do more damage into neutral boards. You get the one-hit KO on Raging Bolt, because some Raging Bolt are just EV to survive Glacial Lance without any damage boost, and suddenly you one-hit KO those, which is really good. And overall, with Terra Poison, a very interesting set, because Terra Poison is also really nice into Zamazenta. In general, this team has a lot of Zamazenta hate with Chi-Yu, Urshifu Rapid Strike, as well as with Terra Poison, Never Melt Calyrex Ice, because Zamazenta teams struggle against this. I played against Hirofumi during Worlds. He 2-0'd me. It was very close because his team also struggles with Entei, but the Calyrex Ice was a pain. And Terra Poison is just overall a really good Terra because your only weaknesses then are Psychic, which you resist before, and Ground, which you can just nuke with Glacial Lance, and that is pretty cool. You might ask why this Calyrex Ice is min speed when we have Icy Wind support on Fluttermane. The reason I chose that is that I think if Trick Room goes up, you really want to be slower when opposing Calyrex Ice, or like when Trick Room is up, you want to be faster, because look at our team. Raging Bolt dies, Fluttermane dies, Chi-Yu not good physically defensive, Ogapon only has sturdy. Like overall, when the Trick Room is up, we need something that outspeeds Calyrex Ice, and that's why I'm running a min speed Calyrex Ice. Therefore, we can run a lot of bulk And this bulk makes sure that we survive, I think, a Strahl Barrage from Shadow Rider. I made this team like 1 week ago, so I kind of have to remember what these spreads do. The bulk should be able to survive a Strahl Barrage, even if we do not Terra, as well as a Draco Meteor or Electro Drift from Choice Specs Miraidon in Electric Terrain. I think this was a 6.25% chance to KO for modest Miraidon, and we saw in the World's Finals that it actually is quite important for Calyrex to survive that move, because that can change the board really quickly, and that is why I'm running this kind of Calyrex Ice spread. It is paired by Raging Bolt, because Raging Bolt is just a really good partner to punish the water types as well. And we are running a Life Orb Raging Bolt because this team really doesn't want to run an AV Raging Bolt. And Booster Energy is already on the Flutter main, so the only options are like Magnet or Life Orb. The cool part about Life Orb is that it also boosts your Draco Meteor, and you can get ridiculous calcs with Terra Electric, Thunderclap, Beats of Ruin boosted, which is really nice. I'm running a pretty fast Raging Bolt. You can also run a slower Raging Bolt, but I wanted to outspeed Ogerpon to have a combination of Flutter Mane and Raging Bolt, and just go for Icy Wind Draco Meteor to just nuke them, because that is a board that I think is pretty common. And you also outspeed other Raging Bolts sometimes. You outspeed Rillaboom, and that's why I chose this spread. You can also make this Raging Bolt work better in Trick Room, but I feel like this is a team that does not rely on Trick Room too much. So that's why I ran this kind of spread, and I decided to go for the third bump, or jump point, however you might call it, and then some bulk, because even with Life Orb Recoil, you can still survive some neat moves like Body Press from Zamazenta, Dark Pulse from opposing Chi-Yu, Icicle Crash from Power if you are Terra Electric, Strahl Barrage, and all that stuff. So that's why I wanted to run some bulk on the Raging Bolt. Then Chi-Yu, I played pretty much the same spread as last week during the stream. But Overheat, Heatwave, Snarl, Protect is just an overall really good set, because with Snarl and Covered Cloak you have a very good mon in the Shadow Rider matchup, and you can also have this nuke button in Overheat. Terra Grass, Covered Cloak is also really nice, because with Terra Grass you can obviously be Spore immune and Rage Powder immune, but with Covered Cloak you are like Entei, a fire type that is immune to Fake Out is just really valuable against Incineroar and Rillaboom teams. And you know, this Incineroar, Rillaboom, Urshifu kind of core is pretty much everywhere, but they cannot lead Incineroar, Urshifu and just go for Fake Out Searching Strikes. If really Chi-Yu, Flutter Mane, we can just go for Dazzling Gleam, Heatwave, and they already have a big problem. Because let's say there's Incineroar, Urshifu on the lead. They are forced to go for Protect on the Urshifu or for a switch, but what switches into a Beats of Ruin, Dazzling Gleam into Heatwave, and what does the Incineroar do? It takes a Dazzling Gleam, a Heatwave already takes like 50% when they are specially defensive, and they can go for Knockoff, which on both slots does not do that much damage. They can go for Parting Shot, but then you still have this Chi-Yu, Flutter Mane on the board, and you can go for Dazzling Gleam, Heatwave again, and that is what makes Covered Cloak Chi-Yu so good, and that's why this is the item choice probably. Next up we've got the Flutter Mane, and Moonblast, Dazzling Gleam, Icy Wind, Protect is really cool. We don't have Shadow Ball because we have some Calyrex Shadow Rider hate already. And you really want Icy Wind on that team, obviously with Urshifu, Chi-Yu, Raging Ball, that's obvious. Having spread damage with Dazzling Gleam is nice, but also the single target damage with Moonblast can be quite important to get KOs you usually do not get with just Dazzling Gleam, because Moonblast is more than 50% stronger than Dazzling Gleam, and that's important. The original spread, I think, from Hirofumi is 160 defense. Like, it is very weird. It has 0 speed, just timid, 60 special attack, max HP, rest in defense. Like 252 HP, 196 defense, 60 special attack, timid nature. So if you want to try that spread out, you can do so. But I wanted to try this spread instead because I wanted to outspeed Pelipper in Tailwind, Modest Raging Bolt makes speed in Tailwind, because there's also this one Groudon team with Focus Sash Raging Bolt. I think it's the best placing Groudon team for Worlds, and they have a speed stat of 254 in speed in Tailwind, and no speed Fluttermane has 255. Okay, but Timid Pelipper has is 1 point faster than Raging Bolt, so it hits 256 in Tailwind, and then your Fluttermane suddenly is slower than Pelipper, and that just feels wrong, and that's why I'm running this kind of spread. Some special attack to also threaten a bit, defense chosen to survive Icicle Crash from Pao, Glacial Lance from Ice Rider, as well as Surging Strikes probably from Urshifu. Terra Normal probably for more Shadow Rider hate, also helps in the Fluttermane mirrors. Not the biggest fan of Terra Normal, honestly, but if it works, it works. Urshifu Rapid Strike, do I have to say something about that set and spread? People might ask me why I'm running 4 defense instead of 4 HP, and I can just give you the quick answer that with that you survive. I don't want to cap, or I don't know if it was Urshifu Single Strike or Rapid Strike, but I had this habit that you with Urshifu always survive Sacred Sword into Sucker Punch from Chiempao. Or like with Urshifu Rapid Strike, could be that you survive Sacred Sword, Sucker Punch. But I don't know if you needed the 4 times resist against Sucker Punch, or if this Urshifu is actually enough. But anyways, it also increases rolls overall, because that Urshifu mainly gets hit by physical hits. Like, let's say you get Fake Outed and you lose your Focus Sash. You want to still survive a Grassy Glide from Rillaboom, and then just investing for in defense makes most sense, in my opinion. And then last, we've got Ogerpon Cornerstone. I was talking about Ogerpon for a little bit already. Just makes sense because you have this double Focus Sash combination with Sturdy Ogerpon and Focus Sash Urshifu. And Ogerpon Cornerstone just matches up so well into the fire types that Fluttermane Chi-Yu usually struggle against, because Chi-Yu's move get resisted. It just has Snarl, spread damage, 55 base power. Fluttermane, all moves get resisted, and that's where Ogerpon Cornerstone comes in. Also helps setting up a Trick Room with Calyrex, or just dealing out damage because of Follow Me. And yeah, that is the team. A lot of nice synergies. If I would replace a Pokemon, it would probably be Raging Bolt. Not the biggest fan of Terra Electric, Life Orb, Raging Bolt, but I haven't played it yet. Maybe this game will change my mind completely, but let's just see how it goes. We are in game, and I recommend you not paying too much attention to the face cam because I messed up again. My audio file is completely corrupted. If it would only be desynced, I could fix it, right, by removing or by moving the audio line according to the video line, but the audio is also corrupted. So that's why I'm in a post commentary today. I thought I still wanted to show you the game, and I realized what the reason was. I streamed my game on Discord to Team Germany because I played a friendly against Mattie, Team Ireland against Team Germany, and I think since I was streaming and recording at the same time, it probably only put in the streaming audio. I don't know, but when I did not do that, it worked. But yeah, we can see a team, a pretty standard Calyrex Shadow team with double Fake Out Urshifu, redirection from Ogerpon Cornerstone, as well as Fluttermane and Speed Control. And I decided to go with Chi-Yu Fluttermane, Raging Ball, Calyrex Ice. Chi-Yu Fluttermane in general, I think is really good into Shadow Rider, because we can force him to either go for Protect or Terra his Shadow Rider early on, and then he cannot Terra anything else, which can be good. And even if he Terras Calyrex Shadow Rider, it probably dies to a combination of Heat Wave and Terra Moonblast, because we are Terra Normal on the Fluttermane as well, so we don't take any damage from Astral Barrage. Chi-Yu doesn't take any damage, but instead we see a Rillaboom Fluttermane lead. as I said, don't pay too much attention on my face cam. I will completely focus on the game. I will not take anything away. It will still be hype, I promise. So you can not hear the in-game sound as well because it got completely corrupted, and that's why I also have a custom or like an own background music for this game. It won't happen again, I promise. So we saw that his booster energy triggered first, so his flutter main is probably faster than my flutter main, which makes sense. I don't have a lot of speed investments, and now he could go for Terra Fairy on the Rillaboom. So I could not Terra Fairy, Terra Fire on the Rillaboom, and he can grab a KO with Woodhammer on my flutter main. Do I mind that too much? I could also go for Protect. He cannot fake out either of my Pokemon because we are Cover Cloak and a Ghost type, but is it not fine if he goes for Terra Fire with Rillaboom, because then he cannot Terra the Shadow Rider anymore if he has it in the bag. And that's why I decided to go for Moonblast Snarl. He will always go for Protect on the Flutter main. I'm pretty sure of that, and that's why I didn't want to switch out. And with that, I forced with Terra, which is really good for Chiyu because now he cannot Terra the Shadow Rider anymore if he has it in the bag. We get the Moonblast off. We do 20%. That's pretty cool. We go for Snarl and do a little bit more damage onto the Rillaboom. And does he decide to go for Woodhammer into Flutter main? No, he goes for Woodhammer into Chiyu. And now this is tricky. I will just rephrase everything just like I did in the video, by the way. So now we could die on Chiyu. See, he doesn't have Dazzling Gleam on his Flutter main, but he could double up with Chiyu with Grassy Glide Moonblast. So I could go for Protect and get damage on the Flutter main. He could also Woodhammer my Flutter main, but my Chiyu gets Grassy Terrain Recovery, and then we might be out of range for Grassy Glide Moonblast. Also, I could just chip down the Rillaboom a little more to then KO him with Calyrex. Since we are Never Melt Ice, we could get a double KO with Glacial Lance, and we can also go Terra Poison, and he has nothing to stop Terra Poison Calyrex Ice. So that's why I decided to go for Protect the Dazzling Gleam, because his Flutter main could be bulky enough to survive even a Never Melt Ice Glacial Lance since we are not max attack. But with Dazzling Gleam, we ensure that both of his Pokemon are in range for Calyrex Ice. We do not see a Grassy Glide. Instead, we see Woodhammer into Flutter main, and Flutter main gets KO'd here. And now things are getting tricky because I could get a double KO with Glacial Lance. I could also just go for Heat Wave, Trick Room. Terra Poison looks really good here. Then we've got Raging Bolt plus Calyrex and Trick Room, and with that we outspeed everything but the Incineroar. Like Calyrex outspeeds the Incineroar, but Raging Bolt does not. I could also go Raging Bolt here and get a KO with Thunderclap on the Flutter main, and go for Snarl to kind of get a double KO, but then I'm a bit out of position against Calyrex, and Thunderclap isn't even a guaranteed KO on the Flutter main here. The problem is if I go Calyrex, he could go for Taunt on my Calyrex, and that is bad because I cannot get a Trick Room up then for free. So maybe it's just going, maybe the best play is just going for Glacial Lance. But then I would also take a lot of damage from Moonblast and Woodhammer if I don't go Terra Poison. But if I go Terra Poison here, I'm weak to Psychic. So that's why I kind of considered going for Overheat Protect. Yeah, I wanted to keep Calyrex alive to then next turn go for Switch with Chiyu and Terra Poison Trick Room because I remove the Taunt user. It's been a while since I played the game as well, so don't mind me too much. But in the end, I decided to just click Heatwave Glacial Lance, without using my Terra. He doubles up on the Chiyu, I think. So if we just click Trick Room, the game would have ended immediately, but that is fine for me, since now we can go for Glacial Lance and boom, get a double knockout and go to +2 attack. Now it's tricky because what are his last 2 Pokemon? If it's Calyrex Urshifu, I can go Terra Poison, but he can go for Surging Strikes Psychic into my Cali Ice. Since he is Focus Sash on the Urshifu, there's definitely reason for him to do so. But if I go for Protect to survive that double up, he could also go for Close Combat, Astral Barrage, and knock out my Raging Bolt. But instead, we see Calyrex Shadow Rider together with Incineroar. We get intimidated since we're not Clear Amulet, but now our position is interesting. He can go for Astral Barrage. He could also go for Nasty Plot. I have to make sure I cannot go for a double Protect here, because if he goes for Fake Out Nasty Plot, I just immediately lose the game, because next turn he can just go for Astral Barrage and Flare Blitz into Calyrex, because unfortunately Terra Electric Thunderclap is not enough to KO the Shadow Rider here. We have a lot of special defense on our Calyrex Ice, so we should survive an Astral Barrage. He could double up on my Calyrex, but then I KO the Shadow Rider with Terra Electric Thunderbolt. Maybe it could be a roll, but that's why I decide... I hard read him here. Yeah, I hard read him because I expected him to not fake out the Raging Bolt. I thought I had to get this turn right, because if I get this turn wrong, I'm in huge danger. And let's see if it worked. I go for Protect. He goes for Fake Out into Calyrex Ice. That is huge, because now what we can do, he goes for Astral Barrage. How much damage does our Raging Bolt take, and how much damage does it deal back? He goes for Astral Barrage. Does slightly more than 50, but our Thunderbolt, Life Orb boosted, Terra Electric boosted, does not KO. But it's in Thunderclap range now. Do I go for Thunderclap here? Because the problem is, if he goes for Nasty Plot, it gets tricky. Because then let's say he KOs Raging Bolt with Flare Blitz. It's a roll here. He has to get a max roll if he doesn't have attack investment. So if I go for Thunderclap and he goes for Nasty Plot, next turn I have to go for Glacial Lance. But if he goes for Protect, Knockoff, I do not get the KO on instant, and then he can go for Flare Blitz, Astral Barrage. So I have to high horsepower next turn. So it's very annoying to deal with it now. But I decide to go for Thunderclap Trick Room, because my Raging Bolt should survive, and if he goes for Protect, I always win, because now I can go for Glacial Lance, and unless he gets a double Protect. Let's see, Flare Blitz goes into the Raging Bolt, and I survive on 1 HP. And with that, I set up the Trick Room, and now my Calyrex is the fastest Pokemon on the field. Now, let's see. I could just go for Thunderclap into Shadow Rider and High Horsepower into Incineroar. But what if I miss the High Horsepower? Do I have a safer play? I could Thunderclap the Incineroar and go for Glacial Lance. What if he goes for Parting Shot Protect? Well, if he goes for Parting Shot Protect, next turn I can KO the Shadow Rider still with Glacial Lance. And Thunderclap Glacial Lance is a guaranteed KO on the Incin. So, yeah, he has to get a quadruple Protect with Shadow Rider. He tries the double, doesn't get it. Let's see how much this Thunderclap does onto the Incin. Thunderclap. Nice. That's a lot of damage. So now Glacial Lance KOs both of my opponent's Pokemon. And we win game 1. The endgame was tricky, because if he decided to fake out the Raging Bolt, I would have always lost, because he can Astral Barrage me, get damage on my Raging Bolt, and then next turn Astral Barrage again, KO my Raging Bolt, and bring my Ice Rider into Flare Blitz range. But if I don't decide to protect my Ice Rider there, my Ice Rider would be too low to do anything, and then it would probably come down to some Thunderclap, Mind Games against Shadow Rider, protect Mind Games with my Ice Rider. So I think I made a good call here, but it was not a safe play. It could have went either way. So overall, my game plan was alright. Forcing the Terra on Rillaboom was good, but in the end game, he didn't even need Terra Normal on Shadow Rider or Terra Ghost on Incineroar. At least it wouldn't have made a difference this time. So maybe I should try something else. I could also do the same stuff again. Maybe he decides to lead with Instant Urshifu now, but then like against Instant Urshifu, what I can do is just click Dazzling Gleam, Heat Wave, and there's nothing he can do against it. So should I do that? I could also then go Terra Grass with my Chi-Yu, but having Terra Normal on Flutter Mane for the Shadow Rider is also very helpful here. So I could also go with Chi-Yu Flutter Mane in the back, since he brought Instant Shadow Rider in the back, and that's where both of these Pokemon can really excel at. If I lead Calyrex, I should be fine into everything, but it's really bad if he leads Incineroar, because then he gets an Intimidate off immediately. So if I lead Calyrex, I have to lead with something that punishes the Incineroar. I have Urshifu, but Urshifu is not great into Rillaboom, Flutter Mane, Shadow Rider, so I do not like that too much. But what if I lead Calyrex Ogerpon Cornerstone? Cornerstone has the Rock move for Incineroar, and I can just click Ivy Cudgel, Glacial Lance into pretty much everything. So yeah, let's try that for now. If he has Incineroar in the lead, I can also just play it aggressive and just don't protect again. So also Incin, as I said, is a very bad lead into Flutter Mane Chi-Yu, and we see Maui and Kel, and that is Urshifu Flutter Mane actually. So we have a lot of things we can do here. So I could do a lot of stuff with my Ogerpon. I could Ivy Cudgel the Flutter Mane to put it in Glacial Lance range. I could Power Whip the Urshifu to do the same there. He could go for Icy Wind, Surging Strikes, KO my Ogerpon, but then I get a Glacial Lance off. What if he goes for Taunt? Or what if he doubles my Calyrex? My Calyrex is my win con. So should I go for Follow Me maybe? Well, Power Whip is so tempting, but I really don't want to take the Surging Strikes on Calyrex, I think. So I will just lock myself into Follow Me, right? Glacial Lance and Follow Me. And he switches with Flutter Mane, and as you can see, I was like, no, Incineroar, and he goes to Incineroar, and I'm like, I was about to click Ivy Cudgel, but like, that is fine. But he didn't even protect the Urshifu, which was very surprising to me, because I could have just KO'd it with Power Whip, Glacial Lance, and now he gets the Surging Strikes off. But this was what I was planning. Unfortunately, he did not go for Terra Stellar, because if he clicked Terra Stellar here, I break the Sash from Urshifu, and then I have Flutter Mane in, and can just go for Dazzling Gleam, right? Dazzling Gleam, high horsepower, he has no switch in, and that was my original idea. But now, it didn't work. So, this situation now is tricky. I could go for high horsepower into Instant, or I go for Glacial Lance again. If I go for high horsepower, I put the Flutter Mane. He could go for Aqua Jet Parting Shot. But the Flutter Mane would be in overheat range, as well as Dazzling Gleam, Glacial Lance. So I don't have to go for a prediction and I can just play it safe and go for high horsepower, because high horsepower wins me the game here. High horsepower, power whip. He goes for Aqua Jet, that's fine. He will probably go for parting shot, but it doesn't matter what he parting shots to, because next turn I get Flutter Mane in, and then I just click Dazzling Gleam Glacial Lance and the game ends. There's literally nothing he can do, and we have a full life Chi-Yu as well, so he can go into Shadow Rider here, but then I can go Terra Normal, Dazzling Gleam, and Trick Room, and then win with Calyrex, Chi-Yu, and Trick Room. But he goes to Flutter Mane, we go for high horsepower, and we miss. And with that, the game does not end. Sad. Really, really bad, but nothing we can do here. The good part is his Urshifu is not his Urshifu. His Flutter Mane doesn't have a booster energy anymore, so now my Flutter Mane is faster. But I kind of have to cover some things. He could very well switch Urshifu into Incin and then put my Calyrex to -3. So maybe it's the play to switch Calyrex into Chi-Yu. Because even if he goes for Aqua Jet into Chi-Yu, I still have the Flutter Mane Chi-Yu combination. And then I can also go for Icy Wind later on. So yeah, I instead decide to just click Gleam Glacier. Yeah, I think in hindsight I wanted to keep Chi-Yu full life to sweep him with Snarl Chi-Yu. So that's why I decided to wait, never mind. I switch to Chi-Yu and go for Icy Wind. Yeah, wait, why did I Icy Wind? Oh yeah, I remember what I predicted. I predicted an instant switch, Icy Wind from his side, and I wanted to like Cover Cloak blocks the Icy Wind, and I wanted to make sure that my Chi-Yu outspeeds the Flutter Mane now, because now I get a KO with Dazzling Gleam Heatwave. That was my original idea, right? Let's see if we connect the Icy Wind. We do connect the Icy Wind, that is great, because now Flutter Mane dies to Dazzling Gleam Heatwave. He goes for Moonblast, and with Beats of Wind it does exactly 50%. And now I have a choice to make. Oh, my bad, I accidentally punched my microphone. If I go for Dazzling Gleam Heatwave, he could go for Protect, Parting Shot, but what does he Parting Shot to? We should not be in Terrastellar Aqua Jet range. I calced it in-game, and from this point, Terrastellar Aqua Jet only has a 1/16 chance to KO Flutter Mane. So Dazzling Gleam Heatwave is pretty risk-free. So that's why I decided to lock into... I did not lock into Dazzling Gleam Heatwave. I wanted to read a Protect, and I get rid of Incin here. In hindsight, not a good play, honestly, but actually that's fine, because my Chi-Yu outspeeds the Flutter Mane. That's what I forgot. As I said, the game is like, we played it 1 week ago. I did not know that the audio was corrupted. But what I have now is that the Chi-Yu outspeeds the Flutter Mane. So we can KO it with Heat Wave, and then we can get a KO with Glacial Lance on the Urshifu. He can also not switch into Shadow Rider, because Shadow Rider would also faint. What he can do though is protect the Flutter Mane, KO my Chi-Yu, and then he has Flutter Mane Shadow Rider into my Calyrex. So I could go for Overheat instead, because maybe Overheat KOs the Urshifu. The Flutter Mane isn't scary at all, and if I get the KO with Overheat, I get the KO on Flutter Mane with Glacial Lance, and then I have a 2v1. So here it's a little tricky, but then I calced it and saw that Overheat does not KO the Urshifu. So I will just go for Heatwave High Horsepower instead, because that will KO the Urshifu. He does not protect the Flutter Mane. Heatwave connects, and now if he targets the Ice Rider. I have Snarl against... it's Shadow Rider, actually, the last Pokemon. He goes for Surging Strikes into Chiyu. I could have pulled the Terra, but I didn't want to do that, because then next turn he has Astral Barrage with Beats of Ruin, and that's why I decided to just not use the Terra. So as long as we hit this high horsepower, we should win. We connect the high horsepower, and that KOs the Urshifu. So now we are +1, never melt ice. So the Glacial Lance is always a KO. So should I Terra Poison or not? What if he goes for Psychic? Well, single target spell tag Astral Barrage always KOs. And I have so much special defense investment. I'm currently calking everything. And even a Psychic crit should not KO if I go Terra Poison. But Astral Barrage can KO without a critical hit even. So now I should always Terra the Calyrex. I will not go for Trick Room, because he could get a quadruple Protect on Shadow Rider and then KO me with the next Astral Barrage. He could have used Protect on the Fluttermane in the last turn, because then he would have also gotten a Moonblast off, but Moonblast Psychic also never KOs. But what could have happened is that the Glacial Lance would have been a spread move, and maybe Calyrex Shadow survives the +1 Glacial Lance. But for that, he has to be very bulky, and on that kind of team, I think he is max speed Kelly Shadow. But we will never know. Let's see if we survive a Psychic. He can get a critical hit. He does not get a critical hit, and based on that damage, 126, a critical hit would have also not KO'd, and single target Glacial Lance KOs, and we won that amazing matchup. 2-0, very well played from Mattie, but the matchup was very heavily in our favor, even though we had Ice Rider into Shadow Rider, and he had no chance to win that endgame because of how I positioned myself. And now I remember why I clicked Icy Winds. So that Chiyu outspeeds the Fluttermane, and I can do exactly what I just did. GG to Mattie, and yeah, overall I think a really good game. But let's head straight to the outro. Sorry again for the post commentary. I promise that it will not happen in the future, but I'm happy that I can still provide the game for you. At least the video file is not corrupted. Next time we have a phenomenal player waiting for me, and as I said, I will not do that kind of mistake again. Do you have any team recommendations for me? If you're watching this, I will be casting the Birmingham Day 2 regional tomorrow. If you're interested in that, feel free to join me on Twitch. I casted Day 1 today as well. You can find the VOD on my Twitch channel as well. But yeah, I will be more careful in the future to not let this happen again. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.